I just had no idea that Mr. Conservative Tough Guy had such a thin skin, and I'm talking about Ted Cruz of Texas. Now, Cruz has suggested, along with some others, that we shouldn't let anybody into the country if they're Muslim, that the only people we should allow into the country would be Christians. And the president, of course, has fired back on that. On Wednesday, Ted Cruz complaining that the president's just been targeting him.
Well, I will say it's fairly remarkable that President Obama has now chosen 2 days in a row to attack me directly. He just called me offensive the day before. He called me un-American. I think that's really quite rich that he chose to make both of those insults on foreign soil while he was abroad, attacking me and attacking everyone else in this country who believes we should not be bringing in tens of thousands of Syrian Muslim refugees, that the Obama administration cannot vet to determine whether or not they are ISIS terrorists. I got to tell you, it is utterly unbefitting of a president to be engaging in those kind of personal insults and attacks.
And is it American, Senator Cruz, for you to say that we should only allow Christians into this country? He goes on to say this.
And, he talked about how he was belittling the Republican field as scared. Well, let me suggest something, Mr. President. If you want to insult me, you can do it overseas, you can do it in Turkey, you can do it in foreign countries. But I would encourage you, Mr. President, come back and insult me to my face. Let's have a debate on Syrian refugees right now. We can do it anywhere you want. I prefer it in the United States and not overseas where you're making the insults. It's easy to toss a cheap insult when no one can respond. But let's have a debate. We'll do it on any station. I'm sure any one of the TV stations would be glad to host it. And let's have a debate on your refugee policy.
Well, Senator Cruz, when was the last time you did an interview with a liberal broadcaster? You wouldn't put your face in front of any kind of progressive thinker who's got a camera, who has any kind of mass media attention whatsoever. You're Mr. Protection. I think the president should invite Ted Cruz over to the White House with the cameras rolling and rip him a new asshole. That's what I think the president ought to do. Harold Cook, let's go to him. He is a political Democratic strategist from Texas, and this kind of plays into the old theme of George Bush saying, "You just don't mess with Texas."
Well, it's good to be back. But I tell you, we Texas progressives keep warning people to stop voting for these Texans, and they so far they're not listening. Sorry about that. We keep sending the worst. Cruz is obviously using this as a platform to get attention. Clearly, the president, not only on American soil, but all over the globe, has been talking about how the United States is in the image business and it sends a terrible message. And it really is rhetoric that needs to be stopped. And the front runner and the ringleader of it all is Ted Cruz. This is pretty much who he has always been, isn't it? Well, yeah, as a political strategist, it's who he's always been, and as a matter of political strategy, what Ted Cruz is doing ain't a bad shtick. He elevates himself to the level of bickering with the president instead of bickering with his Republican primary rivals for president, and that's a pretty good deal for him. Now, that's at the surface, though. Here's the problem. Here's what he forgot. As recently as last year, he was in favor and defending the United States taking refugees, including Syrian refugees. So he's kind of opening himself up to his Republican rivals, charging him with flip-flopping. But last February on Fox News, he said, and this is a direct quote, "We have welcomed refugees for centuries. That's been the history of the United States. We should continue to do so." And that was just last year. So Cruz has got a little problem here as he elevates himself to bickering, sophomorically with the president. He flip-flopped on this issue. And nothing changed except for the incident in France.
Yeah. He says, "Come say it to my face." That's so confrontational. Is that grandstanding, or do you think that Cruz is really pissed at the president?
Oh, I don't know that Ted Cruz believes a word of what he ever says, so he's probably not pissed at the president. I think, he used sophomoric language. He's probably taking a play out of Donald Trump's playbook. Look, it's the way to get attention among Republican primary voters these days to act childish, as witnessed by the rise of Donald Trump, as witnessed by all sorts of other things. Ted Cruz, if nothing else, the man knows how to grab a headline.
Okay,
and he's no fool on strategy. So yes, I think the sophomoric tone is deliberate on his part. I'm surprised he didn't follow it up by, "Oh yeah, you and what army?" and sticks and stones and all the other things that eighth graders say on the playground.
Yeah, Harold Cook with us here on Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Your thoughts on the Republican field? Is it Trump? He seems to have the best. He seems to has the best staying power. Rubio seems to be moving up a little bit. Ben Carson's on the slide. Is it those three? Would anybody else jump up into there? What do you think?
I actually, shamefully, think Ted Cruz is in one of the best positions to capitalize on the stumbles of anybody else above him for a couple of reasons. Number one, he's got an organization that can't be beat. He's got people in every congressional district on this end of South Carolina, and here's the wisdom of Ted Cruz's strategic thinking, if there is any, is that he understands that you don't have to be in the lead every day. You have to be in the lead on the day people are voting. And so I think he's perfectly happy to just do a slow build, both organizationally and message-wise, into Iowa and New Hampshire and South Carolina. Now, all of this, there's a shortcoming to his thinking, and that is somebody's got to fall. And long ago, Ted Cruz assumed that Donald Trump would fall. Well, it's been a long time since we were all talking about the Republicans' summer fling with Donald Trump. I mean, Here we are in November, and he's still at the top. So, but and you can't control what you can't control. But when and if Donald Trump starts to fall, if his shtick gets a little thin with Republican voters, then I actually think Ted Cruz is best positioned to fill that void, and it frankly scares me.
Okay, Harold Cook, great to have you with us. We'll do it again. Thanks, Harold.
Always a pleasure.
You bet. Texas Democratic strategist Harold Cook with us here on Ed Schultz News and Commentary, brought to you by Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team. Like us on Facebook. We post stuff every single day on our website at We Got Ed, ringofireradio.com, and rawstory.com. We're back tomorrow.